Have you noticed how Spotify is changing the way we consume our music? Or have you wondered why finding new music is not as exciting as it was, 15 years ago? Because I think social media and streaming services are ruining the way we interact and consume our music. But technology is so embedded into our lives that it affects our hobbies and our entertainment. Well, today we're going to explore how this digital wonder has broken our relationship and the way we consume and experience music. Of course, the biggest example for this is format, because it is literally the way we listen to the music itself. And I can safely say that the vast majority of us use streaming services, platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, and I understand the appeal. You have access to virtually everything that has ever been recorded in the history of musical history, and it is but so convenient to just have all that music to make a playlist and just put it on the car on the ride home or to work or whatever. But the way we experience the discovery of said music, it's what's changed the most. And I think it has changed the way we connect to our music. When was the last time you found out about an amazing record? Probably like a month ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe. How did you find out about that? Was it A, social media? Was it B, streaming services suggestions? Was it C, a YouTube video? Or was it a friend of yours? I think chances are you don't even talk about music with your friends. Not really. And I remember when I was in middle school, that was a big thing, like sharing music with your friends. I remember just looking through my friends' iPods or MP3 players and just finding about music, about new bands or new songs that just came out, or maybe just songs that they just found out. And it was just so exciting to talk about music and share our music libraries. And it was so interesting to see those libraries, because they would say a lot about people, and you would inevitably talk about music with everyone you cross paths, because that's what everyone did. That was a big conversation topic. Everyone just had a new artist they had just discovered, or everyone would watch, MTV and the top 10 music videos of that week, or whatever it was. And it was just so fun to discover music and to get to know people through their music. And I think that discovery experience is just gone. Like, you don't see that nowadays. Maybe you recommend an album or a song to your friend, but you send them a link to Spotify, and I think that's just not exciting or fun. Also, I remember we would take our CDs and just lend them to other people, and you would borrow CDs from your friends to back up to your computer or laptop or whatever, and just put it in your iPod. And that was the way we discovered music, and it was so special. It was so fun, and I don't see that nowadays, and that's really sad. Now, when we're talking about actually appreciating an album, I think physical media is leagues above digital media, because in the digital space it's so easy to just look at the track list and see which songs are very popular and which ones are not. And even before you start listening to the thing, you kind of already are judging it on maybe song 2 is not as popular as song 4, so you're just kind of already trying to skip through the album and get to the good part, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And it's so easy to just skip around an album and just don't get into it that much. It's not as intentional as physical media is, for example. And you might probably say, but it's the same thing with CDs. You can just skip around. And that's why I think vinyl is the best way to actually consume an album, because it is so tedious to just get up and change the track and actually line it up to skip the second track and go to the fourth track or whatever. And maybe you like the second track a lot and you want to play it again. Well, too bad, because you're not gonna get up and put it again every time it finishes. You're gonna let the freaking record go. And yes, I'm saying that it is so inconvenient that it kind of forces you to listen to the whole thing. And I think that's amazing, because no other format does that. Because you can skip around with cassette tapes, you can skip around with CDs, you can skip around obviously in the digital era, but you can skip around in everything except vinyl. And I think that's amazing. That's why I love it. I have listened to a lot of records that I didn't think I would actually listen to just because I found them on vinyl, and I guess you just put it on, try it, see what it has, and you just get your mind blown without any expectation, and it's so great. It's amazing to just pick up a random record from the store. Maybe a $5 record that looks interesting. Maybe you heard about this or that band and you just pick a random record and it blows your brains out, and it's so freaking cool when that happens. I've had that experience, and it is really cool to just get a random record for $5 and it blows you out of the water. And now it's one of my favorite records of all time. And I don't think you get that thrill from searching through Spotify or looking through a playlist. Maybe you find out about, I don't know, maybe you find out about an artist that you really love now. That's really cool. But I don't think it hits the same. That's why I think physical media is making a comeback. And that's why I think it should make a comeback. And I get it. It's so inconvenient to go to the record store and look through something and actually come back home and have a place to store it, and then, it's a whole thing. I get it. It's very expensive too. Vinyl is getting stupidly expensive, but there are other options. You can always get a cassette. These things are cheap. They don't sound as good, but they're very cute. Also, you could get CDs. They sound better than cassettes, and they're way cheaper than vinyl, and it is easier to store them, and you can back them up to your computer and have a digital library. And that brings me to my next topic, music library. I remember back in the day, talking about the iPods and the MP3 players, everyone had a different library, obviously, but it was a lot of work getting those libraries, because you wouldn't just click like on a freaking list of songs and they would add them to your library. You would actually have to look for them, and I mean you'd have to look for them, or by borrowing the CDs from someone, or maybe buying the thing digitally, or maybe just, I don't know, getting it from somewhere else. You'd have to actually listen to the thing before. I would have to make sure the file was good, because maybe the files were corrupted and they have a skip, or maybe, I don't know, they sounded like shit, because that happened a lot. I was very proud of my music library because it was a lot of work, and I remember that iTunes, I would look up the artwork, the year, the artist, the track listing on every album. I would look up the lyrics and I would put them in, and I would organize my library. But it was just so cool to look at all those albums, even if it was just a digital version of your library. It was so cool to have them, and I would show everyone that I had every single album artwork, and I would be so freaking proud of that. It was just so cool to have it. I know it sounds so stupid, because nowadays everyone has that by default, but that was not the case back in the day. And so that's what I mean by experiences. Everything was an experience, like building the library was an experience, sharing music was an experience, finding new music was an experience. Everything was, I don't know, way more personal and way more important. Nowadays you just click whatever and you don't even pay attention to what you're listening. So I think that's why Spotify is killing our relationship with music, and I don't want that to happen. So I would encourage you to maybe not get a physical format, because it's not as convenient, but on the one hand, you will own every single piece of media that you have, and that's really cool, because this is your record, this is your tape, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can, especially with this thing. So yeah, you can mess around with physical format, and it's just fun and so personal, and you can geek out about it on the internet and maybe make a channel talking about music. I don't know. I just love music, and I think it deserves more respect from us, and it deserves more intention every time we consume it and every time we share it and talk about it. So I guess that was my goal with this video. So yeah, thanks for watching.